attending this course, most of them fencing coaches. This is a very unique initiative started by Sports Authority of India and Fencing Association of India, wherein through Zoom we are getting all these people together, and we have run this 1 month course which started on 16th April. It will go till 15th May, sorry. So we have made a lot of technical classes pertaining to fencing till 29th of April. Now we have graduated to more into the sport specifics. Now a problem what we face sometimes is people are not aware of sport specific, like fencing specific strength and conditioning. They are aware, but they are not up to that extent, because you worked with the people from Brazil Olympic team and other disciplines. So my main request is tomorrow you cover basically on what all muscle groups and all these things are related to the strength and conditioning of fencing. You go through the presentation of another great psychologist of who's related to fencing, also Dr. Janki today, and then you can accordingly equal that. If I still have around 100 people logging in, I'll wait for some more time. So then we can go ahead. Sai, Colonel Bishnoi has told you guys yesterday that we will be having an online test on 30th May. I think Sai has issued some instructions related to that we will be circulating you soon through Fencing Association of India. I think yesterday they started. Today is date 20th of our this class, and response has been amazing. You have asked a lot of questions today. I must thank you for such a great initiative of asking questions. Krishanji, I am still not co-host on the laptop. If you can do me, because it is very difficult to see all in the phone. I am not able to manage the participants here. If you can do that, I'll be grateful. You made mobile co-host. If you can do, yes, thank you very much. Now you can. I will come on the other way. Just another 2 minutes. I'll give a chance to Rambo to say a few words about himself, and we can introduce today's speaker. So first, Ricardo, I'm unmuting you. Just wait. I'm doing it.
Hello.
Yeah. Ricardo, hello. Welcome. Great. How are you doing, man?
I'm fine. Thank you.
And how are the things at your end? It is such a wonderful thing to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation, and I hope to help this this session tomorrow about strength and conditioning for fencing.
Great.
And thank you very much Ricardo, for the invitation.
I think around 150 people are listening to you. You can tell them little bit about your experience and the people you have worked, because people from Sports Authority of India and people from Fencing Association of India is also looking. And aim is to let everybody know the level where you have worked and the good people you have worked, basically to show cause your depth of knowledge and place where you have worked, like Olympics. If you can take another 1 minute to share your experience, how you started this journey.
Sure. I'm a coach that specialized in strength and conditioning for various Olympic sports: cycling, canoeing, fencing, triathlon. And my background is that my best background is that I studied in Russia with Matveyev, Verkhoshansky, two important names in sport training and especially in strength training. Verkhoshansky is the well known as the father of plyometrics. And plyometrics jump training is one of the best means to develop power for the fencer. So that's it.
Ricardo, before now, I wanted to spend some more time on you for 1 minute or two because we have got still people logging in. Just tell me, Ricardo, as per your experience, how much strength and conditioning contributes in overall performance of a fencer?
I think, especially for the speed strength characteristic of the fencer in the lunge position and the attack position, it's very how can I say, it's
important.
It's very important. I think it's one of the after the technique is one of the most important factor in in a successful attack in fencing. So we will focus especially in the speed strength preparation for the lunge in the attack position tomorrow.
Now, Ricardo, I would request you tomorrow because in our exuberance or in our attempt to do more, sometimes I have seen coaches go to an extent they follow same routine every day. I wanted to request you if tomorrow you can touch little bit on the periodization of strength and conditioning. At what phase they should volume, intensity, and load, because that is very important. Because in Indian system, to flung areas from country where they don't have specialized coaches of strength and conditioning.
Sure.
So how they should take if it is in very simple language, like competition is from 3 months now. Competition, you have a 3 months to go to competition. How they should get into the strength and conditioning, because I have seen most of the times, even best of the people we have, Indian system is one, Ricardo, where fencers obey their coaches blindly. This is in our culture and genes. What coach is telling, that is right, and coaches are also doing right stuff. But only thing, sometimes they go to the overtraining zone, and hence the skill specification suffers. You know what I'm trying to say?
Sure.
And that is one thing I would request you to. And plus, I will ask people to send questions. 3-4 best questions I will WhatsApp you. But what a lovely, lovely meeting to see you. How's your leg doing? Leg is okay now?
It's 80%. 80% good.
But you being yourself a strength and conditioning coach, you will be able to handle it. And all coaches, I want to tell you, it is approximately 2 a.m. in the morning in Brazil. And a dear friend of mine, Ricardo, has make all the ways to come on 2 a.m. in the line. Ricardo, I'm very thankful. I'm personally looking forward to see your session tomorrow. Stay safe, and tomorrow we will meet again, brother. If you want to attend the session, it is all to you. Rest. My advice, you see it so that you know how we are making presentations and sharing it with the people. So nice to see you, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, thank you. Now I will tell Krishanji to get Janki online before I introduce her. Janki, you are there? Yes, I can see. Sorry. Okay. Janki, welcome you to the Zoom online coaching session. And it is such a wonderful to have somebody who has worked with fencing. I'm audible, Janki? You can hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. So I, on the behalf of Sports Authority of India and Fencing Association of India, I welcome you to this session. And I hope with you have done so much research on the fencing. And just to introduce you, there is a long CV. Janki has done so much in the contribution of sports as psychologist. In fact, I had a very brief and a good and a learning interaction with her during my tenure at ASI Pune. No, Janki has done a PhD in sports sciences and specialization in psychology from UK. She has been working with the Olympic Gold Quest. She has been on the Virat Kohli Foundation as a dedicated sports psychologist. And there are a number of things. If I can keep talking about her achievement, it will take another 30 odd minutes for me to go through in a brief. She is an MSc in sports and exercise physiology. Overall, a best speaker we could have found for today's session. Again, our aim is to get people who are not generic in their knowledge. They are basically more into the fencing specific. That is the directions I got from my Sports Authority of India and from my president, Mr. Rajiv Mehta and Bashir Ahmed Khan, when I was planning this course. Janki, I've sent you a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Most of questions are related to fear, anxiety, and we will not answer them separately. You must have clubbed it.
Yeah.
Without wasting much time, we have reached around 200 strength, and I can only say best of luck, and you can carry on, please. Thank you very much, Janki.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen and then we will begin.
Yes, yes.
So firstly, I would like to say thank you to the program coordinator Vikram sir for giving me this opportunity today. Thank you to Sai, and also thank you to Fencing Association of India. And I'm looking forward to spending the next 1 hour talking about mental training in fencing. तो आज हम स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजी या मेंटल ट्रेनिंग का फेंसिंग में क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है?
Janki, I'm very sorry. I'm telling you, we have got an audience from friendly foreign countries. We have audience from SAF, Nepal. My request that combination should be 60% English and 40% Hindi.
Sure.
What I would request, once you brief a presentation in English, after that you can take 1 minute to say it in Hindi also.
Okay.
Primarily it should be English. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So what we are going to do today is we are going to speak about the importance of sports psychology or mental training and integration of mental training in everyday fencing. मैंने ये topic choose किया है क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि a lot of times coaches understand that mental training in fencing is important because it is a very mental sport, but do not know how to implement mental training in everyday routine and everyday practice. तो वो कैसे किया जा सकता है इसके बारे में मैं बात करूंगी. The point of doing this is to make mental training very easy for coaches to be able to do with their players on an everyday basis. So that is what we are going to speak about today. I know that this is a one-way communication जहाँ पे सिर्फ मैं आपसे बात कर रही हूँ, लेकिन जैसे हम presentation में जाएंगे, I will be asking you a lot of questions. So I want you to think when I'm asking questions. You don't need to reply, but you can just think about it on your own. So we'll move on. So like I said, what we're going to do today is first is understand what is sports psychology. Sports psychology के goals क्या है? Mental training का goal क्या है? एक फेंसर को मेंटल ट्रेनिंग क्यों करना चाहिए. उसके बाद मेंटल ट्रेनिंग के अलग अलग रूटीन्स होते हैं प्रेशर से डील करने के लिए, टू वर्क ऑन कंसंट्रेशन, फोकस. when you're fencing, like I said earlier also, that fencing is a combat sport, which means that you are not only physically combating against your opponent, but you're also mentally combating. So the way you strategize, the decisions that you make, in 3 minutes you're making more than 100 decisions. So clearly your mind has to function faster than your weapon. I have a nice quote at the top which says fencing is like a game of chess on your feet with a weapon. So you need to almost think like a chess player, but you are on your feet with a weapon. So the role of the mind in fencing is very, very important. And what is it that you can do to improve on decision making, concentration, confidence, how to handle pressure. उसके लिए कौन से mental routines हर रोज follow किए जा सकते हैं, इसके बारे में मैं आपसे बात करूंगी. So how do you use these routines before a match, in between bouts, between touches? ये कैसे use करना है mental training? That is what we'll focus on towards the end of the presentation. So first is, what is sports psychology? There are two main things about sports psychology. First one is that mental training या sports psychology helps you overcome your mental hurdles. मतलब you know, as coaches, I'm sure आप भी एक player के position में रहे होंगे. And I want you to think about yourself in a role of a player. Put yourself in the shoes of a player. You know, when you're playing, you feel nervous before a competition, you feel anxiety, you may feel distracted between bouts, or you may feel like you just can't think, you don't know what to do. You know, when you're facing a better opponent, sometimes you feel pressure because you may feel scared about losing. Sometimes, for example, you may feel angry in crucial situations and crucial times. You may not be able to execute a skill that you can in practice. So a lot of times, a lot of fencers say that, you know, we performed really well in practice, पर वही same performance competition में नहीं आता है. Okay, it may not be because, you know, they're strong skill wise, or physically they are not strong. You know, they may actually need to work on on the mental aspect of the game. So sports psychology or mental training helps you overcome these mental hurdles. I gave you all some examples right now. Okay, I can give you all more examples. For example, you know, all of you must have felt that your heart is beating faster just before a crucial moment or a crucial match. Or you may feel like your legs are just stiff and you just can't move freely. Or you sometimes, you know, can also sweat a little more. And these are all symptoms of a player feeling anxiety or feeling nervous. And we all go through it. We all go through it as players, but we don't know what to do about it. And mental training helps you as coaches to understand what is it that you can do with your players to help them overcome these mental hurdles. So that is the first goal of sports psychology. What is the other thing that mental training, sports psychology does? I would like you all to look at this picture in the middle where there is a little boy jumping on a trampoline. Okay, the reason I'm going to use this analogy to explain to you what mental training is. So you can see him jumping on the trampoline, and obviously he's trying to jump as high as possible. Yes. On the picture on the extreme right, where this boy is also jumping on the trampoline, but he's wearing a harness. Because he's wearing a harness, उसने वो harness पहना है, इसकी वजह से वो ज़्यादा high jump कर सकता है. Okay, he's jumping higher than what he can without the harness. So mental training is like that harness. It helps you jump even higher. So mental training is like the harness. It helps you perform even better. So mental training also helps in performance enhancement. It is not only something that helps you with your mental hurdles, but it also helps you enhance your performance. It also helps you play better and reach your potential. ठीक है? तो मेंटल ट्रेनिंग के जैसे मैंने कहा 2 गोल्स है. एक मतलब जो हमारे माइंड में हर्डल्स होते हैं, जैसे मैंने एग्जांपल दिए कंपटीशन के वक्त, बिफोर अ मैच, ड्यूरिंग बाउट्स, और दूसरा मतलब जब हम खेलते हैं तो तब मेंटली स्ट्रांग रह के हम अपना बेस्ट कैसे दे सकते हैं. Okay, so sports psychology plays these 2 main roles. One is overcoming mental hurdles and second is performance enhancement. Okay, इसका use कैसे किया जा सकता है ये हम आगे discuss करेंगे. So I will just move on. Okay, so I would like to give you all a few examples. I'm sure all of you all know Jason Rogers, who plays from the United States of America. उनकी story शायद आपको पता है, लेकिन I will try to tell you the detail of his story. So as most of you may know, he actually took part in the 2004 Athens Olympics. That was his first Olympics when he was 21 years old. When he went to that Olympics, he spoke about how he was nervous, you know, how he had a lot of thoughts. He thought about, you know, I have to win, I'm going to win, I have prepared so much, what's going to happen. तो वो excited थे लेकिन nervous भी बहुत ज़्यादा थे. So after the opening ceremony, the next day was his individual event. Okay, he felt ready, physically he felt ready. The bout started, and then he said that, you know, once the bout started, by the time I realized it was over, he actually lost 15-3 in that individual event. And he said that I didn't understand what happened. I felt I was ready, but by the time I mentally got into it, the bout was over. And he lost 15-3, like I just said. 5 days later were his team event. Of course, he felt a little more prepared because he got some time, after he had gone there. But he still felt nervous because what happened in the individual event was almost like a shock to him. So he was carrying that somewhere in his mind. Um, but the team was together. The first match, maybe you all know this, the first match that they played against Hungary, and they just managed to win. They won 45-43, so they just managed to win. So they were feeling slightly better before what they started, because they had won. The next game was against France, which was a match where they could win a medal. It was a very, very close match. The score was 44 all, so clearly whoever won the touch was going to win the medal. They were all very nervous, obviously, because it was such a crucial situation and such a crucial moment for them. And they lost the touch and they lost the chance of the medal. Luckily, they had another chance for a medal, and they were playing Russia in the next match. Again, the match with Russia was very similar. They were in the same situation. They were 44-44. And they all thought that we were just in this situation and we have lost from this situation. Can we do it this time? So there was a little bit of doubt whether they could win this time. Unfortunately, they lost that touch and they lost the chance of winning a medal at the 2004 Athens Olympics. He came back. Many of you may not know this part, but he actually is a graduate. He's done his bachelor's in science and he passed with distinction in psychology. So when he came back, he started thinking about how he can use his knowledge about psychology to feel better mentally, because obviously when he went there, he had very high expectations. He could not achieve those expectations. So clearly he was disappointed. He tried to use a lot of things from psychology. The first thing that he used is to be able to handle his emotions in a better way and to change those negative emotions into positive emotions. So he did that. He worked on his mind. And the key thing that he did is that he worked on his mind proactively. मतलब उन्होंने उनके mind पे काम करने के लिए कुछ effort लिया. He just didn't wait for chance. मतलब अच्छा हुआ तो हुआ, नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ. He didn't wait for that. He took it in his hands, he took it in his control, and he started working on his mind. He proactively worked on his mind for 3 years, is what he said, 2 to 3 years before the Beijing Olympics. It was time for them to go to the Beijing Olympics again. Funny situation that they were in the team event. They were again in the same situation where they were playing Hungary in the first game. They just about again managed to win against Hungary. They won 45-44. Funny again that they were going to play Russia in the next game, and they were in the same situation where it was 44-44. And again, they thought that, can we do this time? But because all of them, and especially him, they had prepared so well mentally that this time they won the touch and they won the silver medal. After he came back, he actually spoke about the most important thing that was different in the 2004 Athens Olympics and the 2008 Beijing Olympics was his mental approach. He said 2 things. Like I said, he said, one is I learned how to handle my emotions. I made sure my memories and my emotions were positive, and I kept working on my mind proactively. So he said the key thing was that I was very high in my belief or confidence. And that was one of the key reasons to winning the medal. So especially at the elite level, your mental toughness and your mental strength can make a difference between losing a medal and winning a medal. And I hope we all understand that from an example like this. Okay. I would like to go ahead and give you all one more example, which is I'm sure, very close to us, because the example is about Bhavani Devi, who's a role model for all of us. And I would like to read out what she herself has said about her mind and her mental training. So she said that I was unprepared for the London Olympics and also lost out on Rio because I was too anxious and too stressed out to be able to give my best in the qualifiers. Now I have a better understanding about my abilities and I have a clear picture of my goal. मतलब वो खुद कह रही है कि the reason I lost out in the London and the Rio Olympics was because I was so anxious and so stressed that I couldn't even think clearly about my goal. I didn't know what to do. Fencing is a sport where a clash lasts for about 10 minutes. Like I said, in those 10 minutes, as a fencer, you are taking more than 1,000 decisions. It is important to be mentally and physically agile. I have worked religiously on my defense, which is a vital aspect of my game. Also, I have a mental trainer who offers a lot of value addition. Bhavani Devi now feels she's on the right path for the Tokyo Games. So even someone like her has made use of a mental trainer to get mentally stronger, to make sure that she's prepared for the pressure that she's going to face. You know, she's experienced that she's lost out before because of that anxiety or pressure, and she has now worked on her mind and probably feels more prepared for the Tokyo Games. You know, the reason why I'm giving you all these examples is to help you understand that a lot is spoken about by such players about how important the role of the mind is. Then why is it so neglected? Why, as coaches in India, why do we neglect it so much? Why do we not pay attention? उसको उस पे ध्यान क्यों नहीं दिया जा सकता है और क्यों नहीं देते हैं हम? ठीक है, to help you understand that better, we will move on. And now I want all of you all to think. So put your thinking caps on and think about the question that I'm asking you. Okay. यहाँ स्क्रीन पे आपको एक सुंदर पेड़ दिखाई दे रहा है. You can see a beautiful tree there and a beautiful scenery. I want you to observe, okay, what are the different things that you can see in this image? Okay, just observe and just think to yourself, what is it? What are the different things that you can see? You know, when I've asked this question, I've had people say that, oh, we can see the sun shining through the tree. We can see the beautiful green grass. We can see mountains at the back. It's a beautiful scenery. Maybe we can see a small fence. Of course, we can see the beautiful big tree. We can see the clouds. Okay. So everyone mentions all these things, and I'm sure as coaches, आपने भी यही सारी चीजें observe की है. ठीक है. One thing that everybody और वो भूल जाते हैं, बोलते नहीं है, is the beautiful air that has made this scenery so beautiful. Okay, we can all imagine that the air over there is fresh, okay, and it has helped the tree to grow. Okay, लेकिन ये air के बारे में हम सोचते नहीं है क्योंकि हमें वो दिखता नहीं है. Okay, now I want all of y'all to think about this tree as a fencer, as a player. The sun as the most important, which is his skill. The green grass, which is the nutrition that the tree needs. And the air, which is like the mind, which you cannot see, but is so very important for the tree to grow. अगर ये air fresh इतना नहीं है, the tree will also not grow like this. Similarly, if you don't pay attention to your mind, if your mind is not strong, the player will not grow. Okay, just like in this image, okay, we forgot about the air, we forgot about the fresh air because we can't see it. Similarly, we forget about our mind, we forget how important the mind is when we play because we can't see the mind. Okay, but now that we have understood that the mind is also very important, like the fresh air is important, we should all take effort, proactive effort, like Jason Rogers said, to be able to work on the mind so that the athlete can grow, just like the tree has grown. Okay, so let's not neglect it just because we can't see it. Okay, it's also very, very important, just like the fresh air. Okay, so moving on. So there are a couple of myths about mental training, which I would like to tell you all because I think as coaches it is important for you all to understand. मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि the importance of mental training is in the hands of the coaches. Okay, as sports psychologists, हम players के साथ हमेशा नहीं रहते हैं. You're the one who is with the player. You are looked up to by the player. तो अगर आप mental training में believe करेंगे, आप मेंटल ट्रेनिंग के बारे में सही जानकारी आपके पास होगी कि फेंसिंग में मेंटल ट्रेनिंग का कैसे इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है, तभी प्लेयर्स मेंटल ट्रेनिंग करने लगेंगे, एंड दैट इज व्हेन वी विल हैव मेंटली स्ट्रांग एंड मेंटली टफ प्लेयर्स. So the first thing, like we understood, is that it is important to pay attention to your mind. Second thing, जैसे मैंने कहा कि मेंटल ट्रेनिंग के 2 रोल्स है. एक मतलब जब प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं प्लेयर्स को, जैसे मैंने 3 टूर्नामेंट्स खेले और 3 ही टूर्नामेंट्स में मेरा परफॉर्मेंस बहुत ही खराब रहा, अभी मुझे पता नहीं क्या करूँ, तो मैं मेंटल ट्रेनिंग करता हूँ या करती हूँ. तो यस, मेंटल ट्रेनिंग इज फॉर solving the mental problems and mental hurdles, but mental training is also preventive in nature. मतलब क्या कि जिस तरह से एक प्लेयर फिजिकल ट्रेनिंग करता है, फिटनेस करता है, ताकि वो अपना बॉडी फिटर बनाते रहे, वैसे ही मेंटल ट्रेनिंग इज ऑल्सो टू बी डन ऑन एन एवरीडे रेगुलर बेसिस, ताकि योर माइंड स्टार्ट बिकम्स स्ट्रॉन्गर एंड स्ट्रॉन्गर एंड स्ट्रॉन्गर. You don't do physical fitness only when you are unfit or only when you get injured. You do fitness every single day. You train on your skill every single day. Similarly, your mind has to be trained every single day. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि मेंटल ट्रेनिंग बस जब प्रॉब्लम हो तब करना है. मेंटल ट्रेनिंग रोज करना है, ताकि आप एक मेंटली स्ट्रांग एथलीट या मेंटली स्ट्रांग फेंसर बनाए. ठीक है. दूसरा एक मिसकंसेप्शन या मिथ ये है कि मेंटल ट्रेनिंग सिर्फ एलीट प्लेयर्स ही करते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है. एलीट प्लेयर्स उसके बारे में बात करते हैं क्योंकि उनको उसका इम्पोर्टेंस रियलाइज होता है और उसके बारे में वो बात कर सकते हैं. लेकिन मेंटल ट्रेनिंग एक फेंसर ने हैज टू स्टार्ट व्हेन ही और शी स्टार्ट्स लर्निंग द टेक्निक, learning the skill. Whenever a fencer starts participating in the sport, that is when he needs to also start doing mental training, जैसे वो physical training करता है. तो जितना जल्दी एक फेंसर मेंटल ट्रेनिंग शुरू करता है, उतना जल्दी उसका इम्पैक्ट भी उस पे होता है. जैसे हम एज वी ग्रो अप, इट बिकम्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू लर्न न्यू स्किल्स. मेंटल ट्रेनिंग में भी मेंटल स्किल्स ही होते हैं. तो अगर आपको मेंटल स्किल्स सीखने हैं, जितने जल्दी आप सीखे, उतना फेंसर के लिए उतना ही अच्छा है. तीसरी बात यह है कि मेंटल ट्रेनिंग या स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजी के बारे में ये मिसकंसेप्शन है कि जिसको बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स है, साइकोलॉजिस्ट के बारे में हम बात करते हैं तो लोगों को लगता है कि ही इज मैड और ही हैज अ प्रॉब्लम. please understand that sports psychology is very 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 different from mainstream psychology या clinical psychology या counseling psychology, जिसके बारे में आप जानते हैं. मतलब जो साइकोलॉजिस्ट हॉस्पिटल में होते हैं, क्लिनिक्स में होते हैं, वो अलग तरह के काम करते हैं. उनके पास लोग प्रॉब्लम्स लेके ही जाते हैं. लेकिन स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजी बहुत डिफरेंट है. हम एक हेल्दी पॉपुलेशन के साथ काम कर रहे हैं. Athletes या fencers are the most healthy people because you are physically active, you are involved in a sport. तो आप में प्रॉब्लम है इसलिए स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास जाना है, ऐसा नहीं है. तो स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजिस्ट का ट्रेनिंग बहुत रिगरस रहता है. मैं 10 साल सीखी हूँ, 10 साल प्रैक्टिस किया है. तो स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास ही जाना, अनफॉर्चुनेटली इंडिया में बहुत सारे लोग काम करते हैं. दे कॉल देमसेल्व्स परफॉर्मेंस एनहांसमेंट मेंटल कंडीशनर्स या मेंटल ट्रेनर्स. मैं ऐसा नहीं कह रही हूँ कि उनके पास उनसे आपको इफेक्टिव सॉल्यूशंस नहीं मिल सकते हैं. दे कैन आल्सो हेल्प यू, बट इट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट यू गो टू अ क्वालिफाइड एंड ट्रेन्ड स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजिस्ट, बिकॉज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज कि एक फेंसर को या एक एथलीट को इस काम की वजह से it should not be detrimental to him or her. It should help her. And it's a very complex, our mind is very complex. जिस तरह से आप आपके फिजिकल सेल्फ को एक क्वालिफाइड फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट के साथ ट्रस्ट करेंगे, या यू विल ट्रस्ट अ डॉक्टर with your body, please trust a trained sports psychologist with the mind of your fencer. So don't be careful about that, is what I would like to say. And as coaches, it's important that you all know that. The fourth misconception is that mental training सिर्फ fencers के लिए ही है या सिर्फ players के लिए ही है. Yes, that is one important role. पर mental training या sports psychology से कोचेस और स्पोर्ट्स पेरेंट्स, मतलब जिन फेंसर्स के पेरेंट्स है उनको भी बहुत बेनिफिट कर सकते हैं. So for example with coaches, स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजी या मेंटल ट्रेनिंग कैन टीच यू कि अलग अलग पर्सनालिटी के प्लेयर्स होते हैं, उनसे आप किस तरह से कम्युनिकेट करना चाहिए, उनको किस तरह से फीडबैक देना चाहिए, या आपका खुद का कोचिंग स्टाइल, अलग अलग कोचिंग स्टाइल्स होते हैं, हम उनके बारे में सोचते नहीं है. तो अलग अलग कोचिंग स्टाइल्स अलग अलग सिचुएशंस में हम कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं, प्रैक्टिस में कैसा स्टाइल चाहिए, कंपटीशन के पहले कैसे बात करनी चाहिए. कोई फेंसर्स होते हैं जिनको ज्यादा टेक्निकल एडवाइस लगता है, कोई फेंसर्स होते हैं जिनको ज्यादा मेंटल एडवाइस लगता है, वो हम कैसे अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं. तो मेंटल ट्रेनिंग इज ऑल्सो यूजफुल फॉर पेरेंट्स एंड कोचेस along with players. So I feel because sports psychology या mental training फेंसिंग में एक नया डायमेंशन है, एक्चुअली नया नहीं होना चाहिए, फिर भी नया है, इट्स वेरी नीसेंट. तो इसलिए मैंने सोचा कि मैं आपको थोड़े जो मिथ्स है या मिसकंसेप्शंस है वो मैं क्लियर कर दूं. वी विल मूव अहेड टू फोकसिंग ऑन फेंसिंग. So what should a fencer do before competition? What should he do before he bouts?
Janki, I'm very sorry. I just want to interrupt you here.
Yes.
Till now, this session, there's so many questions I've got. I think now we are moving to the second phase, which is fencing specific,
Yes.
if I'm right.
Yes.
Till now, it was journal.
Yes.
But 3 questions which have come to my mind, जो लोगों ने मेरे को पिछले 3 दिनों में भेजे हैं. There are 3 concepts. Janki, first is mental preparedness.
Yes.
Second is mindfulness.
Yeah.
And third is sports psychology.
Yes.
Are these all 3 different, or they are part of the sports psychology only, and mental preparedness and mindfulness are branches of sports
Yes.
psychology? And what is the difference, if you can describe in another 1 minute?
Yes, sure. तो आपने एकदम सही कहा that mindfulness and mental preparedness या mental preparation is a part of sports psychology. Sports psychology में अलग अलग टेक्निक्स रहते हैं, जैसे फिटनेस या फिजिकल ट्रेनिंग में रहते हैं कि आप अलग अलग बॉडी पार्ट्स को बिल्ड करने के लिए, मसल्स बिल्ड करने के लिए आप अलग अलग टेक्निक्स, अलग अलग टाइप के फिटनेस, अलग अलग एक्सरसाइजेस करते हैं. Similarly, sports psychology में mindfulness is one technique. Mindfulness is basically helping a player, a fencer, start becoming more aware about his self. And one of the key technique of mindfulness is breathing या meditation, जिसके बारे में मैं आगे आपसे बात भी करने वाली हूँ. So that is one technique. Mental preparedness या mental preparation is also one technique which fencers use before they play, so before a bout. It's almost like a warm up. जिस तरह से हम खेलने से पहले वार्म अप करते हैं, बॉडी को प्रिपेयर करते हैं, स्ट्रेचिंग करते हैं, फेंसिंग रिलेटेड वार्म अप करते हैं, वैसे ही मेंटल वार्म अप भी रहता है, दैट इज मेंटल प्रिपेयर्डनेस. तो वो मेंटल वार्म अप में भी अलग अलग एक्सरसाइजेस रहते हैं. तो जैसे माइंडफुलनेस कम्स अंडर स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजी, और इसके बारे में मैं थोड़ा सा आगे बात करूंगी. So
Janki, what you said, जब आपने बोला है, what I could relate, sports psychology is not medicine, it is a supplement. But in Indian context, people treating it as a medicine, कि ये दवाई की तरह है, जब आपको जरूरत है तब जाओ. नहीं, it is like a mineral, vitamin and a supplement which you should take daily. If I am correct, this is the way you are trying to say?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a very nice analogy that every day you eat nutritious food so that your body remains healthy. So it's a similar way. It's like nutrition for your mind, so that you remain mentally strong and mentally healthy. बस प्रॉब्लम हो तो जैसे डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं वैसा मेंटल ट्रेनिंग नहीं है, वही मैं एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश कर रही थी. दैट्स एब्सोल्युटली राइट, दैट इट इज समथिंग टू बी डन एवरी डे. और वो एवरीडे कैसे करना है इसके बारे में अभी हम बात करेंगे. सो दैट इज वेयर वी आर गेटिंग टू दैट एज अ फेंसर.
Please, go ahead. Thank you. Go ahead.
So as coaches, how do you integrate mental training with your players? So we will get there. So coming back to my question that what should a fencer do before competition? The answer is he should do exactly what he does in practice. So जो वो practice के पहले करता है वो ही उसने competition के पहले करना चाहिए. Only then we can actually compare practice performance and competition performance. Okay, but let's look at what happens actually before practice. So what happens is that a fencer comes to his venue, academy that he trains at. He warms himself up physically. He may do some stretching also. Then he may do some fencing related warm up activities. He may change, and then he's prepared, and then he goes on and starts playing. So yes, he does get physically ready. The answer to that is physically the fencer prepares himself. लेकिन mentally ready होने के लिए, mentally prepared होने के लिए, mental preparedness is what we were just talking about. For mental preparedness, अगर mental preparedness के लिए, mentally ready होने के लिए वो कुछ करता नहीं है, then how will he be able to stay mentally strong during a bout? Okay, the answer is he may not be able to, because he's not doing anything to mentally warm up. जैसे मैंने जेसन रॉजर्स का एग्जांपल दिया कि उसके इंडिविजुअल इवेंट में the score was 15-3 and he had lost by the time he realized what to do. And most fencers or most athletes, I've played international tennis myself, so it happens to all of us that by the time you realize the match is over. वो क्यों होता है? नॉट बिकॉज फिजिकली आप प्रिपेयर्ड नहीं रहते हैं, वो इसलिए भी हो सकता है क्योंकि मेंटली हमने प्रिपेयर ही नहीं किया है. बाय द टाइम यू आर मेंटली प्रिपेयर्ड द मैच इज ओवर, राइट? सो यू ऑल्सो हैव टू मेंटली प्रिपेयर योर सेल्फ बिफोर यू प्ले. ओके, और वो कैसे करना है, उन मेंटल रूटीन्स क्या होते हैं, मैं आपको एक्चुअली आज सिखाने वाली हूँ, लेकिन हम स्टेप बाय स्टेप जाते हैं. ओके, तो वो क्यों प्रिपेयर करना है, और एक रीजन है. I would like to give this example that I feel a fencer's mind, जब मैंने fencers के साथ काम किया है, मैंने ये realize किया है कि it's almost like a mobile phone. जैसा हमारा फोन होता है, हमारे फोन में हम दिन भर अलग अलग एप्स यूज करते हैं, व्हाट्सएप यूज करते हैं, फेसबुक यूज करते हैं, कोई गेमिंग ऐप यूज करते हैं, और हम फोन साइड पे भी जब रखते हैं तभी those apps are still running, and because these apps are running, the battery of the phone is still getting drained, and your phone can even die. The battery of your phone can die. Okay, similarly, जब एक फेंसर ट्रेनिंग को जाता है, वो किसी से बात करता है, दूसरे फेंसर से बात करता है, किसी और चीजों के बारे में सोचता है, फिजिकली वार्म अप करता है और खेलने जाता है. वो खेलने तो जाता है, लेकिन उसके माइंड में जो बाकी के थॉट्स रहते हैं, जिससे उसने बात की है, अगर उसने कुछ डिस्कस किया है, वो एप्स की तरह वो चलता रहता है सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में. तो वो एप्स जैसे हमको बंद करने चाहिए, ठीक है, वैसे ही हमको माइंड को रीफोकस करना है, ताकि योर मेंटल बैटरी डज नॉट गेट ड्रेन. पर ये कोई नहीं करता है. सो ऑब्वियसली व्हेन यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग, you are not utilizing 100% of your mental energy. Okay, so that is one reason why you also have to do a mental warm up routine. Yeah, you have to prepare mentally before you go in, so that you are mentally also energized and you are mentally also focused before you go in and play. ठीक है, so I will go ahead with this. तो क्या करना चाहिए to be able to mentally focus? Okay, a fencer needs to change his focus from public to private, या from external to internal. इसका मतलब क्या है कि जैसे मैंने कहा कि before a fencer starts playing, कैसे करते हैं, ठीक है. तो फेंसिंग में 4 मेंटल स्किल्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एक मतलब अराउजल मतलब इमोशनल कंट्रोल, जो जेसन रॉजर्स और भवानी देवी ने भी कहा है कि खुद के इमोशंस को कैसे हैंडल करना है, कंट्रोल करना है. दूसरा है कंसंट्रेशन एंड फोकस. तीसरा है मोटिवेशन. एंड द फोर्थ एंड ऑब्वियसली मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट इज कॉन्फिडेंस एंड सेल्फ बिलीफ. So these 4 mental skills for a fencer are very, very important. And there are very simple ways in which fencers can work on this just before playing. Okay. What I'm going to do is that I have recorded a mental routine. ठीक है, एक mental routine का audio clip मैंने record किया है. वो जो mental routine है या mental warm up है, वो इन 4 mental skills पे based है. ठीक है, मैं आपको ये 4 मेंटल स्किल्स आपको एक्सप्लेन करने वाली हूँ. फिर हम वो मेंटल रूटीन जो है या मेंटल वार्म अप जो है वो हम एक्चुअली करेंगे, ताकि आपको पता चलेगा कि वो कैसे करना है और आपके प्लेयर्स से कैसे करवा सकते हैं। ठीक है, तो पहली चीज मतलब जो इंटेंसिटी कंट्रोल है या इमोशंस कैसे कंट्रोल किए जा सकते हैं, अ सिंपल रूटीन और सिंपल टेक्निक टू बी एबल टू डू दैट इज ब्रीदिंग। ब्रीदिंग में बहुत सारे टेक्निक्स है, माइंडफुलनेस में भी ब्रीदिंग ही यूज किया जाता है, लेकिन थोड़ा एडवांस्ड ब्रीदिंग रहता है। अ फेंसर कैन स्टार्ट विद बेसिक ब्रीदिंग। आज जो हम रूटीन करने वाले हैं वो एक बेसिक रूटीन है, हर कोई फेंसर वो शुरू कर सकता है, हर कोई फेंसर वो अप्लाई कर सकता है। ठीक है, तो हम कंट्रोल्ड ब्रीदिंग का यूज करेंगे। अलग अलग टाइप के ब्रीदिंग होते हैं, जैसे मैंने कहा है डायफ्रेमिक ब्रीदिंग होता है, हाई मेडिटेशनल ब्रीदिंग ब्रीदिंग होता है। हम कंट्रोल्ड ब्रीदिंग का यूज करेंगे। दूसरा मतलब कंसंट्रेशन और फोकस के लिए हम रेडी का ये जो शब्द है, ठीक है, उसको एक एंकर कहते हैं। ये रेडी शब्द हम यूज करेंगे, वो ऑडियो क्लिप में आपको सुनाई देगा, उस पर आप फोकस कीजिए जब वो ऑडियो क्लिप प्ले होगा। तीसरा जो है मोटिवेशन के लिए सेल्फ टॉक, आपने शायद सुना होगा, या पॉजिटिव अफर्मेशंस। खुद को पॉजिटिव चीजें कहने से ही हमको पॉजिटिव महसूस होता है। तो वो जो ऑडियो क्लिप है उसमें आपको पॉजिटिव अफर्मेशन सुनाई देंगे। हमने पॉजिटिव, फोकस्ड और रिलैक्स्ड, ये 3 शब्द का यूज किया है। ये 3 मेंटल क्वालिटीज पे हम फोकस करेंगे, क्योंकि ये फेंसिंग के लिए सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। और विजुअलाइजेशन मतलब हम इमेजिन करते हैं अलग अलग सिचुएशंस को। तो आज मैंने फेंसिंग के 2 सिचुएशंस लिए हैं, एक है प्री कंपटीशन सिचुएशन और एक है ड्यूरिंग बाउट सिचुएशन। हर प्लेयर का विजुअलाइजेशन थोड़ा थोड़ा चेंज होता है, एडवांस्ड होता है, जैसे उसका लेवल ऑफ प्ले एडवांस होता है। आज जो मैंने लिया है वो जेनरिक लिया है, जैसे मैंने कहा कोई भी कर सकता है। ठीक है, तो ये एक एक्चुअली मुझे क्वेश्चन आया था, जिसको मैंने आंसर करने की का कोशिश किया है। एक क्वेश्चन है कि मेंटल ट्रेनिंग पे कितना टाइम स्पेंड करना चाहिए। द आंसर इज वेरी सिंपल एंड इट्स अ वेरी गुड आंसर, that actually a fencer does not need to spend more than 5 to 10 minutes a day on mental training. That's the good thing about mental training. उसको 1 घंटा नहीं लगता है। 5 to 10 minutes is a good time for a fencer, even an elite fencer, okay, to be able to spend on their mental training. Okay, all of you all must have heard about Richard Cruz, who plays from Great Britain. He's a 4-time Olympian. और एक्चुअली मैंने उनका और जेसन रॉजर्स का एक कॉन्वर्सेशन था। सो रिचर्ड क्रूज एंड जेसन रॉजर्स वर टॉकिंग अबाउट हाउ दे मेंटली प्रिपेयर, एंड ऑल ऑफ y'all who know him, आप जानते होंगे कि he comes across as one of the most calm and composed players, but actually when he was younger, when he used to train in an academy in North London, he was known as one of the most hyperactive fencers. And through mental training he actually changed that, and this is his routine before a competition and before practice also. So he does his general warm up exercises, he does his dynamic stretching, he does his fencing warm up and exercises, and he spends only 5 minutes on his mental warm up routine. हर प्लेयर के लिए वो 5 to 10 मिनट्स थोड़ा चेंज हो सकता है, जैसे कि फिजिकल वार्म अप किसी को थोड़ा ज्यादा वार्म अप लगता है, किसी को थोड़ा कम लगता है, वैसे ही मेंटल वार्म अप का भी रहता है। पर टू बिगिन विद 5 मिनट्स इज गुड इनफ टाइम। तो आज जो मेंटल वार्म अप रूटीन आप सीखेंगे, आप करेंगे, जो मैं आपको सिखाने वाली हूँ, वो भी 5 मिनट का रहेगा। आप उस पर बिल्ड कर सकते हैं स्लोली स्टडीली। तो गोइंग अहेड, जब वो आप ऑडियो क्लिप आप सुनेंगे, जो मेंटल रूटीन आप सुनेंगे, उसमें जो ब्रीदिंग है, ठीक है, वो आपको स्लो, डीप और रेगुलर ब्रीदिंग पे फोकस करना है। जब आप ब्रीदिंग करेंगे तो आपका ब्रीदिंग आपको स्लो करना है, डीप करना है और रेगुलर करना है। ठीक है, ये जो ब्रीदिंग रूटीन है, ये जो कंट्रोल ब्रीदिंग है, ये फेंसर्स सुबह बस ऑन इट्स ओन भी कर सकते हैं। मतलब इवन जस्ट एज अ ब्रीदिंग रूटीन यू कैन डू इट। ओके, आज जो हम करेंगे वो एक कंसोलिडेटेड रूटीन है, मतलब उस पर हम ब्रीदिंग भी करेंगे, विजुअलाइजेशन भी करेंगे, सेल्फ टॉक भी करेंगे। तो हम सारी चीजें एक रूटीन में कर रहे हैं ताकि आपको आइडिया आए। लेकिन सिर्फ ब्रीदिंग भी आप सुबह प्लेयर्स को करने के लिए कह सकते हैं. So you take total of 8 deep breaths, okay, in a slow, deep and a regular fashion. This is also one of the techniques that Bhavani Devi uses. There is a quote that I really liked which she spoke about, and I would like to read it out, and I will tell you why it's relevant today. So she says fencing is the most mental of all sports. She says it demands quickness, balance, speed, and mental agility. To succeed on the field, we must first learn to succeed in our own minds. In fencing, every competition, situation, opponent, and outcome is different. If you lose your focus, you lose the game. Breathing is such an excellent technique that when you focus on your breathing, when you can control your breathing, that is when you can control your mind. So it's a very simple technique, but a very effective and a powerful technique. So I would recommend all coaches to introduce this form of breathing to all your fencers. Okay, even if they are playing just at the basic level, that is also fine. मेंटल ट्रेनिंग के बारे में एक अच्छी चीज ये है कि वो आपको आपके गेम में भी हेल्प करता है, लेकिन इट ऑल्सो हेल्प्स यू इन योर ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट, इन योर होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट. ओके, सो मूविंग अहेड, सेल्फ टॉक के बारे में मैंने जैसे कहा, सेल्फ टॉक क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है? क्योंकि हर फेंसर को नेगेटिव थॉट्स आते हैं. ऐसा कोई फेंसर नहीं है, नॉट इवन द बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट फेंसर्स, जिनको नेगेटिव थॉट्स नहीं आते हैं. ओके, अगेन देयर इज अ कोट by an Olympic medalist, Wozniak. I would like to read it out to you. So she says, those thoughts are going to creep up where you say, I am not good enough. Maybe this shouldn't happen. Or maybe I'm not ready. You're going to go there. Every athlete goes there, but the best athletes don't stay there. उसका मतलब ये है कि नेगेटिव थॉट्स हर प्लेयर को आते हैं, लेकिन अ गुड फेंसर learns how to change those negative thoughts into positive affirmative thoughts, and that is why self talk is used. तो आप सुनेंगे ये ऑडियो क्लिप में मैंने जैसे कहा कि पॉजिटिव वर्ड्स, पॉजिटिव सेल्फ टॉक आपको सुनाई देगा, पॉजिटिव, फोकस, रिलैक्स, ऐसे शब्द आपको सुनाई देंगे, so that a fencer is able to integrate those positive words in his mind. Okay, so self-talk is the other technique that we're going to use. Visualization, again, one of the most important techniques used by all world-class athletes, all world-class players. Improve होता है, can be done for actually realize होगा कि मैं क्या कर रही हूँ, भी लिया है इसमें, और ड्यूरिंग कंपटीशन का भी लिया है, ड्यूरिंग बाउट का भी लिया है, तो आपको समझ आएगा कैसे करना है. जो यंग प्लेयर्स है, यंग फेंसर्स है, उनका विजुअलाइजेशन प्रोसेस ओरिएंटेड रहना चाहिए. मतलब क्या है कि बहुत प्लेयर्स को लगता है कि विजुअलाइजेशन मतलब मुझे जीतते हुए विजुअलाइज करना चाहिए खुद को. आई शुड विजुअलाइज माई सेल्फ विनिंग, और विनिंग अ मेडल, और which is fine, but winning is an outcome. ये टाइप का विजुअलाइजेशन आप बाद में कर सकते हैं. पहले प्रोसेस पे, मतलब कौन से स्ट्रेटजी यूज करना है, कौन सा टेक्निक यूज करना है, क्या अच्छा कर रहे हैं, इस पे फोकस करो विजुअलाइजेशन में. विजुअलाइजेशन ऑल्सो नीड्स टू बी डन एवरी डे. विजुअलाइजेशन कैसे काम करता है? विजुअलाइजेशन हमारी मसल मेमोरी बिल्ड करता है. मसल मेमोरी मतलब क्या कि जब हम फिजिकली प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, मतलब एज कोचेस या एज फेंसर्स, आप जब 3-4 सालों के लिए प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, तो मोस्ट ऑफ द एक्शंस दैट यू लर्न इन फेंसिंग कम टू यू नेचुरली. आपको सोचना नहीं पड़ता है कि अभी कैसा खेलना है, आपको नेचुरली रिएक्शंस आपके आते हैं, क्योंकि आपने ट्रेनिंग फिजिकली वो बार बार आपने ट्रेन किया है खुद को. तो उससे क्या हुआ है, आपका बिल्ड हुआ है. तो वो जो मसल मेमोरी बिल्ड होती है, वो फिजिकली ट्रेन करके भी हो सकती है, मतलब टेक्निकली आप जब उस पे काम करते हैं वैसे भी ट्रेन कर सकते, वैसे भी इम्प्रूव होती है मसल मेमोरी, और विजुअलाइजेशन से भी मसल मेमोरी इम्प्रूव होती है. तो दोनों का इफेक्ट सेम होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैंने अगर आपको कहा कि आप विजुअलाइज करें या आप इमेजिन करें कि आप आपकी एकेडमी में है, तो आप आंख बंद करके विजुअलाइज कर सकते हैं, आप इमेजिन कर सकते हैं कि आप वहां पे है और आपको वो सच, आपके माइंड को वो सच लगता है, उसको फर्क नहीं समझ आता है कि ये सच है या नहीं है. तो विजुअलाइजेशन हैज दैट पावर that it helps you feel that what you're visualizing is real, it's true, and that is why visualization helps in building confidence. ठीक है. So I'm sure all of you all are excited to see what a mental preparedness या mental training routine is like. तो मैं चाहती हूँ कि मैं अभी एक ऑडियो क्लिप प्ले करने वाली हूँ. आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट ऑल कोचेस टू एक्चुअली गो थ्रू दिस मेंटल रूटीन, गो थ्रू दिस मेंटल वार्म अप रूटीन, क्लोज योर आईज, लिसन टू द ऑडियो एंड ट्राई टू फॉलो द डायरेक्शंस दैट यू हियर इन द विजुअलाइजेशन. मैंने ये इन द मेंटल रूटीन, मैंने ये मेंटल रूटीन हिंदी में किया है क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि बहुत सारे कोचेस को हिंदी में ज्यादा इजी लगेगा. But later I will explain it to you all in English if you all don't understand it. So I will play it. Close your eyes. It's very, very simple. So close your eyes and do it sincerely.
आंखें बंद कीजिए और आपके शोल्डर्स रिलैक्स कीजिए. आप अभी फेंस करने के लिए तैयार हो रहे हैं. जैसे आप प्रिपेयर हो रहे हैं, आपको पॉजिटिव, फोकस्ड और रिलैक्स्ड लग रहा है. आपके ब्रीदिंग पे ध्यान दीजिए. नोटिस द वे इन विच यू आर ब्रीदिंग. आपका ब्रीदिंग फास्ट है या स्लो है, शैलो है या डीप है. बस आपके ब्रीदिंग पे ध्यान दीजिए और अभी आपके ब्रीदिंग को स्लो, डीप और रेगुलराइज कीजिए. जैसे आपका ब्रीदिंग स्लो, डीप और रेगुलर होता है, आपकी बॉडी रिलैक्स होती है और आपका माइंड पॉजिटिव और फोकस्ड हो रहा है. आप अभी पॉजिटिव, फोकस्ड और रिलैक्स्ड महसूस कर रहे हैं. Now focus inside your mind. See yourself at your tournament venue. खुद को वार्म अप करते हुए देखिए. जैसे आप वार्म अप कर रहे हैं, you make the adjustments that you need to make as your competition is about to begin. आप कॉन्फिडेंट है कि आप तैयार हैं. You are confident that you will be ready when each bout begins. You are confident that you will deal with any distractions that may come. You are confident that you will make the adjustments you need to make to fence your best. आपका ब्रीदिंग स्लो, डीप और रेगुलर है. स्लो, डीप और रेगुलर है. You are feeling positive, focused and relaxed. अभी ये सिचुएशन चली जाती है और आप कंफर्टेबली सांस ले रहे हैं. आपके सांस पे ध्यान देते रहो. Now focus in your mind again. Imagine that you are at a critical point in the bout. आप मन में पॉज करते हैं और अब आपकी नेक्स्ट एक्शन क्या होगी इसके बारे में सोचते हैं, स्ट्रैटेजाइज करते हैं. जैसे आप सोचते हैं, you prepare yourself and you are ready. You are ready to act decisively. आप जब खुद को रेडी कहते हैं, आपको पॉजिटिव, फोकस्ड और रिलैक्स लगता है. आप खुद को जब रेडी कहते हैं, आपको पॉजिटिव, फोकस्ड और रिलैक्स लगता है. आपका ब्रीदिंग स्लो, डीप और रेगुलर है। आपकी ब्रीदिंग को महसूस करो। आपका ब्रीदिंग स्लो, डीप और रेगुलर है। यू आर पॉजिटिव, फोकस्ड एंड रिलैक्स्ड। अभी ये इमेज भी चला जाता है और आप कंफर्टेबली सांस ले रहे हैं। आप 3 डीप ब्रेथ्स लीजिए। Rub your hands against each other. Slowly place them on your eyes and slowly open your eyes.
Okay, good. So I saw most of you all doing this. This was about ये 4.5 minutes का audio clip था. I could tell some of you all losing focus and getting distracted even while doing this. So actually your breathing really, when you're focusing on your breathing, it really tests how focused you can be. So if you're feeling fidgety in 4.5 minutes, imagine, it tells you your level of focus. So it's not easy to even sit and meditate for 4 to 5 minutes. So this is a simple way in which players can practice a mental warm-up routine. ये कैसे use करना है? By using slow, deep and regular breathing before a bout, before a tournament. Whenever a fencer feels that he's losing focus, he can say ready to himself. Also say the positive affirmations, which are positive, focused and relaxed, whenever he feels pressure or he's at a critical point in the bout. लेकिन ये जब बाउट्स और टचेस के बीच में अगर प्लेयर्स करने वाले हैं, तो इसका हेल्प तभी होगा जब वो एवरीडे ये रूटीन फॉलो करेंगे. मतलब जैसे हम फिजिकल वार्म अप करते हैं, तो 5 मिनट मेंटल वार्म अप के लिए रख के ये मेंटल वार्म अप करके फिर खेलने जाना है, तभी इसका हेल्प होगा. So like I said, that it also needs to be done regularly for it to have an impact. All of this does not, I try to put it all together so that आप experience कर सके कि क्या है, लेकिन आप स्टेप बाय स्टेप भी आपके प्लेयर्स को सिखा सकते हैं. मतलब पहले ब्रीदिंग सिखा सकते हैं, फिर विजुअलाइजेशन सिखा सकते हैं, अलग अलग सिचुएशंस में लेके आप विजुअलाइजेशन सिखा सकते हैं. और ऑफ कोर्स आपको अगर आगे हेल्प लगे तो आपको एक स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजिस्ट की हेल्प लेनी चाहिए, because it should not do any harm to a fencer. So that is also important. But hopefully you all got a good understanding about what a mental warm-up routine is like. Yeah, how do you mentally prepare?
Kranti, sorry, Janki, may I request you, Kranti, most of the people are requesting if you can share these techniques. So I know you may have got a copyright or patent on that. What I would request you, if you can make a small video of these techniques, you give it to us, we will upload on the Fencing Association of India's website, from where it cannot be downloaded, but people can see it. It is okay?
Yes, we'll do that. We'll put something into place. Actually, we will also, I'll be more than happy to share this with you, sir, and you all can put it up on Fencing Association of India, so everyone gets access to it. We will also be putting it on our website very soon, so you all can access it from there. I will share this clip and you all will all get it, so that you all can all listen to it, so that it is actually of use to you also.
Great, Janki. That will be so nice. Please carry on.
So I think, that's about it for today. I would just like to summarize जो हमने आज सीखा, just a few takeaways. एक मतलब mental training is a key aspect in fencing. उसको neglect ना करे. Pay attention to it. जैसे you pay attention to your physical fitness, your technical training, वैसे ही mental training पे भी ध्यान देना चाहिए. It's important in two things. One is that it helps overcome problems या mental hurdles. But it also is used for enhancing performance. It's also used to make a player, a fencer, mentally tough. A pre-performance routine or a mental warm-up routine is essential for every fencer playing at every level. आपने अभी वो ऑडियो क्लिप सुना, तो आपको पता है कि एक बेसिक मेंटल ट्रेनिंग कैसे हो सकता है. तो एटलीस्ट आप वो शुरू करें आपके एकेडमीज में. A fencer needs to focus internally while performing. मतलब खेलने से पहले वो focus जो external है वो internal में change होना चाहिए. उसके लिए भी mental training important है. Develop a mental training routine that can be followed every day. ज़्यादा difficult ना बनाए, ज़्यादा complicated ना बनाए players के लिए because they lose interest in it. So keep it simple, but make sure that it's being done every day. Whether they do it at home or whether they do it at they come there and do it at the academy is also, take responsibility as a coach on that and make sure that एक बार एक फेंसर पहले 3 महीने के लिए मेंटल ट्रेनिंग करता है, उसके बाद वो नहीं छोड़ता है. फर्स्ट 3 months यू नीड टू पुश योर प्लेयर्स टू डू दिस, क्योंकि वो नया है तो समझते नहीं है. एंड फाइनली इमोशनल कंट्रोल, concentration, self-talk, motivation, and visualization. So building confidence are the 4 key mental skills that are important for every fencer. So make sure that you all address these when the fencers are young, so that they don't face problems when they start playing more competitively. So I think that's about it. Thank you again for listening to me so patiently. जैसे मैंने कहा वो ऑडियो क्लिप मैं हमारे वेबसाइट पे भी डालूंगी थोड़े दिनों में. मैं सर के साथ भी शेयर करूंगी, विक्रम सर के साथ, सो यू ऑल कैन लिसन टू इट फ्रॉम योर एसोसिएशंस वेबसाइट. And if you all have any more questions, I had some questions, so Vikram sir, I can take them.
Janki, thank you very much. I think I have also made a data bank of questions. I'll ask them. I have clubbed them also. In case you have some specific questions which you think you should answer and you prepared on them, you can go ahead. You still have 2-3 minutes more.
Okay, sure. So I think one of the questions that I had is, which was a good question, that if the competition is tomorrow and the player is not able to sleep thinking about tomorrow's competition, what can we do psychologically for sleep or relax? मैंने ये क्वेश्चन लिया क्योंकि मैं जानती हूँ बहुत सारे फेंसर्स इससे are troubled by this, that they can't sleep a day before competition or the day before itself they feel really nervous. So just like you physically relax, हम रात को सोते क्यों है? ताकि हम physically relax हो सके और mentally भी relax हो सके. It's important that you mentally also relax. There are 2 things that you need to do. The night before, a lot of times when fencers are thinking, they're thinking about things that are not in their control. Matlab, will I be able to win? What will happen? What are people going to watch me? Will I get, what is going to happen? So these are things that are not in your control. If you can actually sit down at night and think about, जो मैंने focused attention के जो points थे कि मुझे कल कैसे खेलना है, मुझे कौन सी strategy follow करनी है, मुझे कोई technique पे ध्यान देना है क्या, मुझे कोई mental training का routine खेलते वक्त use करना है क्या. You focus on things that you are supposed to do and that are in your control. That will help you feel in control. हमें nervous क्यों लगता है? क्योंकि जब हम जो चीजें हमारे control में नहीं है उनके बारे में सोचते हैं, तब obviously हमें nervous लगता है क्योंकि हम कुछ कर नहीं सकते हैं. So think about, write it down. Diary writing or journaling is a technique. Again, a lot of players use. So write down things that are in your focus tomorrow, which will help you feel in control. And second thing, you can follow the breathing that I taught you all today. Or there are other forms of breathing. Progressive muscle relaxation is a form of breathing. Whoever has this question or others, if you all can email me also, I'll try to explain to you all how this is done. But that is a very effective breathing routine or a relaxation routine that is used to relax the night before competition. Also find your own strategies as players. So for example, for some fencers, taking a hot shower at night helps, or listening to one particular music or a soundtrack helps. So identify, proactively think about what helps me and start doing those things. So that was a very good question, which I thought I should address. Also, I would like to tell you all, as coaches, we actually have a completely online course just meant for coaches on how to mentally train your players. How do you handle different situations? If your players feel pressure, how do you speak to them? What do you do with them? How do you build their confidence? So again, if you all are interested, feel free to contact me. My email address is also there on the slide along with the website, and I can share a little more with you all. I know there's a lot of curiosity about mental training. So if you all have any doubts about that, I will answer that also.
Now, Janki, very soon we are starting a Facebook Live of Fencing Association of India. There we will definitely request you to come and share something, because we want to prolong it. We will be taking it throughout the year on once in a
Okay.
week. So based on your preference, we will give you certain time there on once in a month. You can come and take one subject and elaborate it. That will be okay, and we'll come back to you on that. Now, I always respected those. First of all, I must thank you. It was again a blue sky thinking, and I'm 100% sure I have a guts to admit that I never knew most of them. Many people may be knowing it, but as a true learner, once you learn something new and you never knew it before, you must acknowledge it. That is a trait of a good student. Thank you very much, Janki, for such a wonderful session.
Yeah.
Now we will move to the question answer session. There's a very wonderful question which has been sent to me by a very young and bubbling coach of India. His name is Nitish Nav. We call him Harshi. And I wanted to unmute him to let him ask that question. This is a very pertinent question in Indian society. Harshi, you are there? You can listen to me? वो सब देखना जरा हर्षी को लाना please, Harshi. Then Dinah is there. We have got a Shriya from Jammu. These people send me some quality questions, and these are the top players of India. So I wanted to give them a chance.
Yeah, definitely.
Harshi?
Yeah. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Harshi, just wait. Harshi, please go ahead, ask your question. And then
Yes.
mute yourself, please, after that.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Ma'am, my question is mostly seen that the sports person, maybe he or she, living in the hostels, having a relationship. Due to this, they are draining their performance in the competition.
Kranti, you will able to understand that? I will repeat his question.
Yes, sir, please repeat the question. I couldn't hear him properly.
There is some internet. He said most of the fencers who are doing well, they stay in hostels.
Yes.
Due to their age factor, due to the hormonal chaos which is going in body, they get into relationships also.
Yes.
Obviously, it is very obvious, very normal thing. There's nothing bad in it.
Yes.
It takes out a lot of toll on their performance because their concentration is emotionally somewhere else than on the training. How to handle such situations? And I must tell you, these questions, these kind of situations are very, very beautifully coaches and fencers are overlooking it.
Yes.
It should not be. Please, another 1 minute. Take 1 minute on that. After that, I come to Shriya and Dinah.
Okay, yes. I think, again, very good question. I would like to say that this is about educating those young fencers. And a lot of times that's where the role of a sports psychologist also comes in, because when you say something as a coach, a lot of times it's perceived differently. Similarly, when parents say, it's perceived differently. Whereas when a sports psychologist speaks about this, it's taken in a more positive way, or they're more receptive to it. So one thing to educate young fencers is that it's very normal for them to have relationships and have different relationships in life. It's not only about a romantic relationship, but one thing that they need to understand, that they should have relationships whether they are with a partner or anybody else, which help them positively and bring positive emotions in them. Whenever it brings any negative emotion or brings them down, they need to be aware that that relationship is not positive for them. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, there are different techniques in mental training or sports psychology to help them focus when they are training. So they are going to have other things that happen in life, but they need to understand how to segregate those roles. Let me give you an example. So let's say when I was playing tennis, when I was younger and I was playing at the competitive level, as a tennis player, I also had different roles. So I was somebody's daughter, I was somebody's student, I was somebody's friend, I'm somebody's something else. But when I'm playing on the tennis court, I should be only in the role of a player. I should not be, if I'm thinking that, oh, if I don't play well, what is XYZ going to say? Or, what is my mother going to say? Then I'm in the role of a daughter. If I'm thinking about what my mother is going to say, or if I'm thinking about, oh, what my partner is going to do today in the evening with me and where we are going to go out, then I'm in that role. I'm not in the role of a player when I'm playing. So there are techniques to help these players to ensure that when they are playing, they are only in the role of a player and they are able to keep these other roles aside. So these techniques also help, but I think the main thing is also to them and to help them understand that these situations and these relationships should bring the positive. They can also benefit them. There's nothing bad in having relationships, but they have to be beneficial for them and not detrimental, not negative for them. So I think
Thank you, Janki. I know you can speak a lot about it. Only crux is that, like, what I could take from Janki, if something like this happens, all coaches should not hide it and suppress it. They should talk to the people, and over a talk, many things can be resolved. Now, Janki, second question. This question was from Hershey.
Yes.
At once it prompted, and I really liked it. And I want people who break the shackles and ask bold questions because they have got a guts to go up. Well done, Hershey. Wonderful question. Keep it up. Now we have got another very bubbly and young fencer from JNK. Her name is Shriya Gupta. She's a gold medalist in 3 sub-junior, junior and cadet, I suppose, if I'm correct.
Nice.
She sent me a very wonderful question again, out of blue thinking. Now,
Yes.
Shriya, you are unmuted. Ask your question.
Thank you, ma'am. It was such an illuminating session. My question is how to cope up with the immense pressure of maintaining balance between sports and studies, especially when you are in 11th or 12th and want to excel in studies too.
Yes.
Wonderful question. Please mute yourself. Thank you. Please, Janki.
Yes. Very good question. I think there are 2 aspects to this. One is
Janki, just a minute. For the Hindi people, I just want to say, Shriya has asked a question कि स्टडीज और स्पोर्ट्स में कैसे तालमेल बढ़ाना चाहिए, बिकॉज इंडिया में कहते हैं खेलोगे कूदोगे तो होगे खराब, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब, स्पेशली जब आप 10th और 12th में होते हैं, आप नेशनल चैंपियन भी होते हैं, तभी आपके पेरेंट्स चाहते हैं कि आप एग्जाम्स में अच्छे नंबर लेके आए. प्लीज जानकी.
Yeah, so I think there are 2 things to this, and I'm answering this very particular to Shriya because she's saying ki she wants to learn and she wants to continue to educate herself. So 2 things is that the importance in your mind towards fencing and towards your education has to be equal. It has to be 50-50. The difference is in how you prioritize. So in your day-to-day prioritization or in your time management, you may have to give, there may be times where you will have to give a lot more time to your fencing. There may be times when you will have to give a little more time to your academics compared to fencing. So the amount of time that you give in terms of prioritization may change. But in your mind, there doesn't need to be a confusion about what I should give more importance. In your mind, the importance has to be equal. Once you understand that, you will not struggle with it so much. Okay, just because today you're giving more time to fencing does not mean that in your head, studies is not important. That is not the case. So it's important to understand that there are 2 aspects to this. One is that the importance in your mind, so make that clear. Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? So that it becomes easier for you to manage both. Yes, and even if the importance is equal, the amount of time that is spent on a particular day may change. That is okay. So you have to be comfortable with that. But I would like to say to everybody that from my experience of working with so many players, more than 2,000-3,000 players now, that academics and paying attention for a player and a fencer, it helps him feel more confident when he's on there on the strip performing, because the pressure reduces. So it's good that you're focusing on your academics also. It makes you a more confident player. So, continue to do both.
Thank you, Janki. Now, I just wanted to sum it up as a moderator. Shriya, what she's trying to say is that your sport should be catalyst for your studies and studies should be catalyst for your sport. If you do both of them in routine with the right energy and not going to the overdoing it, they will facilitate your grades in both sides. Janki, I'm correct? Everything is science. Everything is science as far as I know. Little bit I have also started learning by getting into the company of good speakers and people like you. Another question, Dinah, you are unmute. Dinah is again one of the best fencers of country, and she's there. Dinah, can you listen to me?
Yes, I listen.
Dinah?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead. Ask your question. Janki, she is a mother of a 5-year-old child. Currently, one of the best 3 fencers in country we have. She hails from Manipur, and she requires to be acknowledged for her contribution. Dinah, over to you, bache. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
Good
My
morning.
my question is, how do we compete against excessively aggressive player?
Thank you, Diana. Mute yours. Okay, please.
Firstly, congratulations on your achievement. Along with being a mother, you're doing the country proud. So great. So I think this question is probably a little bit of mental and technical both. Defensive is a part of strategy. So you have to understand that all that the player is trying to do is that he's strategizing against you, both in terms of physically and mentally also. So I can understand that when a player is playing aggressively, the strategy is actually working on your mind. But you need to accept the fact that that's only a part of her strategy, and you need to strategize accordingly as to what the way you need to play. So I would actually say that you need to focus on how you need to play, whether you want to play aggressively or whether you want to play defensively, regardless of how the opponent is playing. And I think that will probably help you to approach the situation mentally in a much better way.
Thank you. This Diana, what Janki is trying to say कि आपको if you are it अगर आप खेलने जाते हो किसी aggressive fencer के साथ, you should not take it by surprise. आपको उसके बारे में सोचना चाहिए. You should practice yourself accordingly. You should rehearse yourself accordingly, because you have to build yourself subconsciously. Janki, I think this is the crux what you said.
Yes. Also,
Now yes, please.
Yeah. No, also I believe that, see, in a sport like fencing, majorly you have to, a player is going to be attacking and aggressive. Using defense is a part of being aggressive or attacking. So they are not two extremes. I think defense is a part of attack also. Why you're becoming defensive so that you can attack. So I think you need to definitely be prepared to play players like this.
Janki, just again question add on to that is that how you can distract your opponent during bouts. These are tactics or strategies to do that.
So I think I would say that players should don't try to distract shift mentally. Don't focus on shifting the opponent mentally, but whatever you do for yourself. So for example, when you play well, or you make a touch and you pump yourself up, that will automatically your body language will automatically give the indication to the opponent. So I think what I would say is that you need to focus on your own body language, and not worry about whether the opponent is getting scared or not scared. So just focus on yourself and making sure that you're feeling confident and your body language is strong.
So that's good. That's a wonderful answer, I suppose. I think very practical. Now, we have got a person from 3-4 countries attending. But before that, I wanted to again go to the Assam. There is a player called Tiang Ang Wang. He is half Chinese, half Indian. And why I wanted to get Tinsukia players online, because Tinsukia is one of the remotest places in India, last railway station, where Ariban Banerjee is running a wonderful academy in his own limitations. And this is one of the potential pocket from where most of the fencer I'm expecting, because fencing is growing. In fact, the only sport for the masses there. Congratulations to coach. No, I wanted to get Tang there. Tang, you are there. Tang, I'm unmuting. You ask your question. Tiang, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. And good morning, sir. My question is, most of the time, sir, what happened? Players they used to practice, and after losing a competition, most of the players lose their toughness. They mentally how to
handle failure. Basically, you want to say.
Yeah.
So please mute yourself, Janki. This is a very common question. Most of the dreams and champions are killed after first defeat. Is it because coaches are expecting too much from them, or they are not being graduated for the success? Because success is a process. This is not an overnight thing. Please.
So I would like to say that especially when you start competing, especially in fencing, I feel that there will be times that you may find your players losing more than winning more, which is fine. But what is important for coaches is to understand that when these players are losing, they are learning from that loss. And we often hear that you should learn from losing, but are they really learning? And how is it that the fencer, if he is learning from the loss, he or she will not feel that bad also, and he will recover faster. So how do you learn after a loss? You learn after a loss by analyzing your, and then going in practice. Actually, it's a very good question. If it's okay, I would, if I would like you all to just look at my screen. I had this slide, but I thought we were short of time, so I didn't actually go over it.
Please.
If you look at this is actually looking at, what should a player do post match or, post tournament. What happens at the moment is that a fencer practices, and then he goes into competition and plays. Then he practices again, and then he plays. Okay, so this is the physical aspect of the sport. What a player needs to do, what a fencer needs to do, is that after he plays a competition, okay, he needs to reflect on what has happened. Okay, then he needs to analyze and plan based on this reflection, and then he needs to practice so that practice is more effective, and then he needs to go and play. So these two circles at the bottom, where the player is reflecting on what has happened and then analyzing and planning, is actually the mental aspect of the game. There are very simple ways in which players can do this, and coaches can get done from their players. For example, writing down. So ask them to think about, even if they've played their worst and it's been a horrible day for them, they should still be able to identify 3 things that they did well. What is it that they did well? Can they identify one thing that they need to improve on? How will they improve on it in practice? What is their plan? And then implement that in practice. That will also help them recover from their loss, and they will actually be learning from their loss.
Thank you. Janki, another question is from Mehndi Hassan. He is from Bangladesh, one of the referees from Bangladesh. Yes. Mehndi, I am unmuting you. Please go ahead. Mehndi Hassan, your question.
Yeah, thank you, doctor. And regards from Bangladesh. So I have a question that, in Bangladesh, there are so many good fencers, but, they are thinking like, I have no career in fencing. But they're very good fencers. They have very good career, but they're not that kind of motivated, that they feel down. Yes. So how to encourage those fencers?
Wonderful question, Mandy. Wonderful question. Congratulations for such a thinking. Yes. Please, ma'am.
Yes, very nice question. It's we see that in a lot of sports that children, younger players feel demotivated because they feel they don't have any career. So I think the key is to help them find a role model that they can look up to, and the role model does not have to be in your country. So by showing them, how role models think, what they do, what their journey was, even in countries where the sport is much more advanced, the journey has not been easy for any fencer. So when they realize that it is a difficult path, and if he can reach there, I can reach there, that will motivate them. Introduce them to different players, making sure that they are watching a lot of motivational videos, keep them involved in the game. Also I think in the one of the things that is important at a younger age group is that there is a nice culture in the academy. If they enjoy the culture of the academy, they start enjoying the game also. So I think 2 things. One is to help them have role models, and make sure that the culture in the academy is built in such a way that they enjoy just coming to the academy.
Great, thank you. What Mehndi Hassan, I just wanted to add on to it, because a moderator, I always want to be highlighted. There's something called that the one who's thinking like that, he can be the first role model of Bangladesh. So opportunity should be liked and challenged. There's another wonderful question by Janki, that is from Roshan Thapa. We have got a coach from Gujarat. He says, what kind of bonding and coordination should be there between coach and fencer? We have seen generally coaches are like very strict, or they're very friendly. What kind of a bonding they should be there for the learning and development and to generate peak performance?
Yes, I think excellent question. This is what I was also saying earlier about coaching styles. First thing is that identify your natural style. Are you more of a disciplinarian, or are you more friendly? So understand that about yourself. Secondly, your role and the style of relationship has to change when a fencer is young, and then when the fencer becomes senior and elite. Till if you need to be more like the instruction maybe says that you're telling them and they're doing, you're telling them. You need to change that, where you need to have a two-way communication. You need to ask them questions about how they would like to train or what they would like to do, and then be more like a coach. So, a teacher is where you're just teaching, and it's one way. Coaching is two-way, where the player is also involved. So it's important that with very young players, you need to be more like a teacher initially, but then you change your style eventually to being more of a coach and a little more friendly. Yes.
Now 15-20 minutes. See, I personally felt young people need a lot of guidance. In one of the camps, one of the coach told all the fencers, please don't use mobile after 10 o'clock. You have to deposit it. There was a lot of hue and cry, but thing I just wanted to ask you, if you can elaborate from psychological point of view the bad effect of using gadgets on your performance after certain time. Please, it is a very important question. It is a lifestyle disease nowadays. If you can answer that, this is question from my side to you.
So I think, I've also seen this. A lot of players are on their mobile phones even just before they come to practice. What mobile phones do is that, like I said, that's the reason I gave that example of that mobile, where it drains your mental energy. Imagine you're looking at the small screen for 30 minutes before you play. What kind of concentration are you going to have? You've used up all your concentration. So it's important that after playing, give yourself a routine with your mobile phone. You use it in the morning, you use it in the evening, or whatever, half an hour in the afternoon. But don't use it at any random time, because it's draining your mental energy. Your experiment, them in their kit and then start playing. They were doing that for 1 week. Then the next week, I told them not to bring their mobile phones at all. Okay, this was at a tennis academy, and then play. And all of them felt that they had more energy, they were more focused, and they enjoyed playing a lot more. So do this with your children and do this with your players and see what they feel. They can feel it themselves, that it does drain your energy. So if you need to take disciplinary action with regards to the mobile phones, you should do that as a coach, I think.
Great. Last word was cherry on the cake. You forgot.
Sir, I can't hear you.
Vikram sir, are you there?
I can't hear him.
Ma'am, I think he lost his internet connection, so I'll continue on behalf of him.
Yes.
So we have a panel of experts here, so I will invite one by one, and if they have any doubt or they want to ask any question, they can ask to you.
Sure.
I'll invite Mr. Mohit Ashwani, and then followed by Mr. Sagar Lagu. So I'll unmute Mr. Mohit Ashwani now. Mohit sir, you are unmuted. You can ask your question.
Yes. Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ma'am, good morning. Wonderful session. Thanks a lot. Very informative. Ma'am, my question is a bit practical, which we are finding lot of problems to handle it.
Correct.
There are fencers. I'll not name anybody. Nothing is important by naming anybody. there are young fencers who are, before you can say 3 to 4 months before training, they say that they are injured and they go to doctor and everything happens. We also give them relaxation.
Yeah.
But as there are 4 to 6 weeks prior to the competition, suddenly they are fit. They are training, do everything what they are told to do, join every sessions, and there is no problem. But as the time passes, the competition is over. After coming from the competition, in this problem occurs,
right?
And same fencer suddenly before competition continued the training, and the moment competition is over, same thing happens, and again starts to go into doctor, some state, same complaints, sir, I have an injury here, I have an injury here. This is, why I'm asking you, this is, every day we coaches used to discuss this problem. And not with everyone, but there are 1 or 2 or 3 fencers, they are having this problem. How to tackle?
Yeah, so I think what is in question here is really the motivation of the player. So clearly he may enjoy participating in competitions, but he's not ready to put in the hard work and effort that is required in training. One thing to find out is that a lot of times players do feel like they perceive that they're getting injured or they're falling sick just because of the pressure, or just because of sometimes because of overtraining also. I don't know what's happening with these players, so I can't say. But that's also something to check whether it's possible for them to fall ill or become injury prone because of the stress and the pressure that they're experiencing. So first thing is just to check whether that is the case. And if that is not the case, then what needs to be worked on is the motivation of this player, because clearly it's not like he lacks motivation. He's just being unmotivated in a particular situation where he does not want to put in effort in his or her training, but he still wants to compete in competition. So which is never going to get him or her results. So I think to be able to work on this, you should actually this will only be able to work on with the help of a sports psychologist, because you will really need to understand what the psychology of these players are, and why is it that they're behaving in a certain way, and then work on them by through an intervention or working on them mentally to help them feel internally motivated to be able to practice also and put in effort.
Thank you, ma'am. Janki, ma'am, there are a number of questions. I was slightly signed out for some time. You said it is absolutely correct. I was reading a very wonderful thing yesterday. He said if your kid doesn't want to go to school tomorrow, and if you tell him that there is a holiday and you are not supposed to go to school tomorrow, then there is some problem in the school. And one of the best coaches of the century, Joe Wooden, has once said, you are not training the robots, you are training the people with emotions. They need to have equal participation. Sorry, I'm just budging in. Now there's another question. We have a girl from Kerala. Priya, you are there? Ma'am, just a very lot of magic. I will go to the second panelist. Ma'am, there are 100 questions, but I wanted to give chance to many people who have asked question. Another question asked by Arun Rajkumar from Kerala. Fencing is a team come individual game. Yeah, there are a lot of time people performing too good in individual events, but when it's come to team, the bonhomie is not able to come up to the expected standards. How to tackle players in a game whereas team and individual events are both? How to prepare them for both events? Because generally people prefer more into the individual stuff.
Correct, absolutely. I think what happens is, like you're right, it's all about the mental approach. In an individual event, the fencers are serious about it, and they give it more importance, and they're more keen on that. A lot of times, even in a team event, they're looking at the team event as an experience. So I will get experience by playing, but the approach has to change. You have to know that you have to feel that this is just as important as an individual event, I think to be able to function well in the team event, it's important that you just don't go out and do your part and then come out and each one of them does that. That's not how a machine works, right? A machine will work only when everything is well oiled and everything is gelled together. And as a team, in a team event, you need to gel together beyond what is happening on the strip. So you need to know each other, you need to be comfortable with each other, you need to help each other. I think that's one of the key things which a lot of times is lacking. So don't look at it, players should not look at it only as something to gain experience. And there, a lot of them say that, I do individual, but I also participate in team events. It should not be an also, it should be I do both. And so it's all about the mental approach that you take towards these events. And, players should change that.
Thank you. Ma'am, I would request you be precise, 20 to 30 seconds. I've got 4 or 5 questions more with people. Priya, over to you. Ask your question. Priya.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Good morning, ma'am. My question is, how to handle the anxiety level during a bout with a good medalist?
With a good?
Medalist or a good big player.
Okay.
Ma'am, it is a question is, I just want to reframe question here. If you play with best fencer like I am as a dark horse playing with some Olympic champion, how to prepare yourself accordingly, because you already go 2 points down with the poor vision or something like that.
Yeah. I would like to say, one is that use some mental routines. You went through something, you learned something today, so use them to handle your pressure. And second, I would like to say, which I said earlier, that focus on yourself and focus on what you need to do with your weapon.
Okay, just focus. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Now I give chance to another. We have got another. I'm just seeing. We have got our coaches and instructors. They know all of these things. I just wanted to give chance to most of the new people who are logging in. So I'm just searching them out, if you don't mind. Yeah. Meanwhile, ma'am, you can give them some tips about how they should keep themselves psychology fit during lockdown, because this physical and other preparation have come down.
Yes.
Another
so I think one
50
key
minutes, 50 seconds you can do.
Yeah. So visualization is a great technique to follow. You all have understood what visualization. So every day, close your eyes and imagine that you are going to your training, through your warm up, you're doing your training. So go do your visualization as if you're actually going to your practice session. So do that every day. Spend 10 to 15 minutes every day doing your visualization during this lockdown, so that once you get back, you don't feel new, you don't feel rusty, you don't take time to get into the zone, and the transition becomes easy. So make sure you all are doing your visualization every day.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I give chance to a few panelists, because I'm still able not to find out few people. I just wanted to give answer, but they're not visible. Krishanji, if you can unmute Sagar. After that, we'll give a chance to all of them one by one, because I think the people who logged is not there. Sagar is there. Sagar is there. Sagar, please go ahead. Ask your question or give comments.
Good morning, ma'am. It's a wonderful session, and we have got. It's been cherished by your personal experience with the fencers. I just wanted to know, because I'm working mostly with the girls. So the girls, after getting married, a lot of things change. There will be very difficult for them to manage the both sides.
Yes.
So what kind of mental training they should require? And another one question is that while playing a competition, some players get suddenly blocked, means they don't understand what's going on. At that particular situation, what we have to deal with, how we have to deal with them.
So the answer to your first question is yes, it becomes very difficult for women, not only because, especially after marriage, you have to understand that there are also a lot of hormonal changes that take place. So it can become very difficult emotionally. So as a coach, you may have to be a little more sensitive towards the emotions of female players generally also. But a lot of things can empower female players. They can actually become physically stronger, sometimes also physically stronger as they grow. So I think being mindful of both how things are changing for them mentally and how things are changing for them physically. As a coach, if you're mindful of them and aware of it, I think that will help. Secondly, like you, with your second question, you said that some players can't think and they don't know what to do. That happens, so they freeze basically, and that happens because of immense pressure. So following a mental routine like we did right now will help them reduce that pressure, and they will then be able to, once the pressure is released and they know how to manage it, then they will be able to think. So the lack of thinking is because of the pressure. So help them to deal with the pressure by using different mental techniques like we just saw. Breathing will help, visualization will help, self-talk will help. So use that with this player and see how he does.
Ma'am, just tell me one thing, how to handle with the people of old school of thought. For them, training, day, night is the only solution, and they don't give any due to the byproducts of the performance. How to handle with these people, these kind of people?
I think a beautiful thing about our country is that, although mental training, it feels like it's come from the West, a lot of techniques that even I use, for example, come from yoga. Everybody in our country understands the importance of yoga, meditation. Visualization is also used in yoga. So use methods from yoga that can help fencers, so that they will be a little more open to doing it rather than Western techniques, which we probably did today. It was a little more Western in nature. But there is a lot of research done of using these techniques with fencers, but yoga can also help. So if yoga can be introduced, then as a start point, that may help players with a little more conventional thought processes.
Thank you. Ma'am, before we have got a parent who's also a treasurer of Telangana Fencing Association. Sandeep is there. I wanted to give him chance to ask his opinion as a parent.
Yes.
Sandeep, I'm unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vikram, sir.
Yeah.
Madam,
please ask your...
Madam, good morning, madam.
Please.
Madam, we are started here a new association in Telangana. Now players are coming. They are not cope up while competition. What is your suggestion? What we have to do to perform well in the competition?
Ma'am, what I can say, he's asking question. There are few states who's starting the sports at the they're at the very premature level of sports.
Yes.
Now, once their player go for the national, they also want to win. But obviously, they are grooming. They will take some time to reach at certain standard.
Yeah.
So if players keep on going and failing, or not able to get what they want, there is a kind of tendency that they lose interest. How to handle such kind of things? With the beginner people, you expose them less, or what? Kindly tell them. Then I'll get you another wonderful person we got today. I just could find out.
Yes.
Please.
I think two things. One is that yes, it's going to take time to get results, and the first thing is for parents and for the association and for everybody involved in the state to be able to understand that we need to be patient. Once we are patient, then the players will also start becoming more patient. The second thing is to introduce them into competitions which are slightly easier, so that they feel motivated, because they will at least win a few bouts, or so that they know that they have a chance of doing well and winning. So do not expose them directly into very tough competitions. So initially, this is a method used for motivation, where you don't introduce them to extremely challenging things, but easy things. Once they see some success, then they're also ready to work more hard, and they also know that it's something that is achievable. So these two things, I think.
Thank you, Janki ma'am. It is basically process. I was just scrolling down. I saw another very intelligent mind of Indian fencing. Swati Bhojraj, I'm unmuting you. Welcome, and I'm very thrilled that you are also watching our Zoom session. What about the Swati ma'am? She's a corporate lawyer with the, I think, Infosys, if I'm not wrong. Yes, and she is qualified on the sports code, and she has done her internship. One of the best minds we have. Swati, over to you. In fact, you can share your experience. Then I'll ask you one question also. It reminded me, there was a question few days back. Over to you, Swati. How are you doing?
Sure, Vikram. Thank you. Hi, Janki. Thanks a lot for this amazing session. It definitely helped me. Now that I'm looking back, 5-8 years when I used to play, if I got these kinds of trainings that would definitely enrich me as a player. Thanks a lot for helping the fencing community through this. Hi Vikram, I'm doing well. Thanks a lot for taking me
Swati,
on the
just
line.
thank you very much. We want people like you with a sharp bend of mind and a lot of intelligence to be on the panel. Swati, Janki, I'm very sorry.
Thank
With your
you,
permission,
Vikram.
I'm just deviating from you for 1 minute. Swati, there was a
Yeah.
question on publicity code. This Santosh Pandey, a very prominent coach from Bengal, he asked, we could not answer it because you are into sports law. Can you give us what is sports code? In another 1 minute, I can give you.
Okay, he was asking about the sports code, right? So generally what happens is, to simplify, I know the target is not lawyers.
Publicity code.
Publicity code. Okay, fine, sure. Publicity code is a part of a sports code, fine. Because I understand that the audience is mostly fencers and it's not lawyers, I'll keep it as simple as possible. So generally, what is a publicity code? It is actually a set of rules and guidelines laid down by maybe the International Olympic Committee, or for that matter, the specific agencies or federations or international associations which rule that specific or lay down rules and regulations for that specific sporting event. In for example, for fencing, it would be the Fencing International DS Prime, right? So that would be the governing body which lays down the rules. And what are these rules about? These rules will be about sponsorship and advertising. A lot of players, including fencers, get their sponsorship, right? Their sponsorship can be through NGOs, or their sponsorship could be through larger brands like the Adidas, the Nike, or the sponsorship can be through corporates. So when all of the sponsorship happens, how the sponsorship has to happen, how the logos are to be used, and how they should be printed on your metallic jacket or non-metallic jacket. So the publicity code sort of details all these rules, Vikram. And one of the important aspects for this audience would be focusing on the rights of, one, of course, the sports persons who are being sponsored by a specific corporation, and two, the sponsors' rights themselves. And the third thing would be the federation's rights, or the international association which is organizing the event, right? Their rights. All of this becomes important because the Tokyo 2020 Olympics is coming. I'd like to use that as an example. So Tokyo 2020 Olympics as a committee specifically for marketing and sponsorship. So now Tokyo, the Olympic Committee as its own sponsors, right? It can be, I wouldn't take out the names because they've not publicized it yet. So let's say there are A, B, C, D, 4 sponsors for Tokyo Olympics. And these 4 sponsors have complete rights over using the logo, the branding, and several related aspects of that specific event. So that's what the publicity code for Tokyo provides for.
Swati, another. We can get you online sometime. Short of time. Another thing you can give me.
Vikram.
I know you did some wonderful research on dope, and you were able to crack some deal between Infosys and Nike. I don't know how it is the latest on that. Just on next 50 seconds, what are the rights of sportsmen if they get into dope? 50 seconds or 1 minute. Please be precise.
Sure. So to keep it simple, so what would be doping and who regulates it? The World Anti-Doping Agency regulates it, and India, it would be the National Anti-Doping Agency, right? So they list out certain kinds of chemicals and medicines.
We are aware of that. We are aware of. If somebody gets come to that, please. Thank you. If somebody gets caught in the dope, what are the rights he has, how he can fight it out? That's what I wanted to know.
So exactly, one of the things that sports person need to focus on is, one is the ethnic culture. For example, each country has its own culture, its own way of living, their own eating habits. Sometimes fencers or any other players might be eating certain foods without knowing that contains chemicals which are prohibited under the WADA or the NADA, right? So you can make an argument and build a case. Of course, you have to get yourself a lawyer to fight for you as to how this is ingrained in your culture, and you do not take that specific chemical to enhance your sporting capability. Another thing related to this session could be, of course, Janki can highlight much more on this, would be something called as therapeutic use exemption. For example, a lot of these psychologists and psychiatrists provide sports persons with medicines, right? Because if there's anxiety, if there's depression, if there's any kind of mental, mental related problem that a sports person is facing, they give them medicines, and these medicines can also contain some kind of chemical. if they are contained in such a circumstance, that can be one of the exceptions for not being penalized and fined. And thirdly, it's also very important to know what the list contains and what kind of intake that you take. And it is at the end of the day, you have to prove that you did not take it for the purpose of enhancing your sporting performance, but for the sake of, but without knowing it happened inadvertently or without the knowledge of the sports person themselves. Every sort of come down to that, Vikram.
Swati, thank you. I think you can talk a lot about it. In fact, we would request you, in case if you can take out 10 minutes, we'll get some questions and we'll ask you later whenever you're available. I know you are very busy. Thank you very much to be there, Swati. There's a big surprise. I think Bhavani is also listening to us. And I think we should finish the session today. Although, Janki, there are 100 of questions, but all cannot be answered. It is a wonderful session. Thank you, Swati. And Janki, I'm just unmuting Bhavani.
Yes.
Bhavani, you can discuss one thing or you just convey thanks to the Janki. You are our role model, our mentor. Please go ahead. Bhavani, you are unmuted. Bhavani?
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Bhavani, we have got a very renowned psychologist with us, Dr. Janki. You can ask her a question, share experience, or just convey thank, because she उन्होंने हमें आपकी slide दिखाई थी, and it is such a wonderful that you came online to share your experience. Please, Bhavani, please.
Thank you. First of all, I personally feel sports psychology is very important, especially for fencing, because in fencing, more than physical strength, mental strength is more important to win the match. Anyone can fence with physical strength, but who wins depends on their mental strength. So I think this is a very important session given by Ms. Janki. Sorry, I don't get her name.
Yeah, you're right. You're correctly bullseye.
So it's a very important session for all fencers. I think many fencers should have attended this session. And I'm glad that I have participated in this session because I personally believe a lot in sports psychology. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your time. And
role model, her speaking about the importance of sports psychology and the mind. I'm sure that's going to motivate all the other players and all the coaches here today to give it importance like you have. So thank you for doing that. And
even Janki, if you don't know that Bhavani is now practicing in Tamil Nadu alone because she came back from Italy, and I can understand a lot of psychological issues she must be going through. She was almost qualified for Olympics. Now Olympics has been postponed. So I would, on the behalf of Fencing Association of India, would request you, I'll share her number with you and you share her number with her. And Bhavani, Janki is always available for you if you want to discuss something about sports psychology.
Yes.
Sure. Thank you.
I'll exchange the numbers, and I am more than happy that you gave an importance of mind. This is very, very much required, and that is the reason you are there performing at top level. Absolutely. Best of luck, and thank you very much out of your time, Bhavani. Thank you very much. Now we have already reached. Please, ma'am. No, don't worry. I'll connect her. That's why I'm a shrewd businessman, ma'am, for the fencing.
Good. That's doing.
Don't worry. Just clicking it.
Fencers.
No. So nice of you, ma'am. It is already 11:55. I know you took out your time. We are thankful. We will connect you to the SAI and Fencing Association of India also. Yes. And we would request our president to get on panel on medical commission if possible. So then you can contribute much for that. And ma'am, you can share those videos for me.
I will.
And I will put it on that. And if you can share this presentation also, I will share it with all. There are 100 of questions. I apologize all those I could not ask. Please keep sending your questions. Stay safe. And please, wherever you are, clap for 10 seconds for Dr. Janki. And ma'am, after that, you conclude it and then log out for 30 seconds. All of you are requested to clap. Don't unmute, just clap. Thank you very much for a wonderful session. They are doing it.
Enjoyed. Thank you.
No, ma'am, last 30 seconds, you can conclude whatever you want to say. Thank you.
So I think, thanks again to SAI, Fencing Association of India. I'm looking forward to doing more work with fencers and making sure that we have mentally strong and mentally fit fencers to play for the country. Thank you so much again today. Thank you, Vikram sir. I look forward to speaking to you all and helping your academies in the best way possible. So please do contact me if you need any help at all with regards to mental training for fencing.
Thank you, Dr. Janki, and best of luck. Thank you very much.